Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Today on the webinar, we have three very exciting parts. We're going to do a quick round of introductions. Gareth is going to introduce himself and his company, and then John, CEO of SmartSuite, will introduce himself and the company. Gareth will then dive into a quick live build in SmartSuite, showing you how to build an intake process, a little bit of automations, and some exciting stuff. And then John will share some exciting product updates coming real soon in SmartSuite. And then we're going to be taking live Q&A.
Fabulous. Thanks, Avi. My name is Gareth. I own a company called GAP Consulting. We started working in no-code tools, I want to say about 4 years ago now. And it's just been a wild ride ever since. As I'm sure everyone here knows who's attending, no-code is just taking over the way that we work in business and even in our personal lives in many cases. And so we've been helping our clients in both education, in terms of helping them get up to speed with different tools, and also building directly for our clients as well. So yeah, it's been an awesome past few years, and we're looking forward to many more. I hand it on over to John.
Yeah, good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you might be. I'm John Darbyshire. I'm one of the co-founders of SmartSuite. I think all of you probably understand that SmartSuite is a no-code platform that focuses on helping organizations manage any process or project inside of their organization. I think on today's webinar, we've asked Gareth to just share his thoughts as a consultant, partner, no-code expert on how he uses SmartSuite and how he sees his clients using that, and maybe some of his thoughts around that. So please get your questions ready. He's an expert in that area. And then at the end of this, I will briefly share an update on our product roadmap and some interesting things that we're working on, a few that will be released in a few weeks and others that will be released over the next 4 to 6 weeks. And with that, I think I'll turn it back over to Gareth.
Awesome. Thanks. So today I really just want to stand up a quick, easy solution for us using the first, let's say 15 or so minutes, and just showcase some of the different features in SmartSuite. There are some things that SmartSuite does better than all the other no-code tools out on the market, in my opinion. So I'm going to be showcasing hopefully some of those. And I also hope that from this, you can all come up with great questions, and just if whatever you're curious about, that's the whole point of this. So please don't be shy. I'm going to start by sharing my screen here. And we're going to just stand up a quick solution here. I'm going to start from scratch. I'm here inside of my SmartSuite workspace, and I'm going to add a new solution. And as I said, just start from scratch here. And this now is its own solution. Every solution is comprised of one or more apps inside of it. So I can rename this solution. Let's call this an intake process. One of the most common processes that we help our clients stand up is some sort of intake method. And not just the data that we're collecting, but also we're looking at building a workflow around this. So as new people come in and are interested in requiring or requesting services from this business, how would that process go? I want to point out that here, when we're naming this, we can also change the solution color, change the solution icon, lovely array of options here, even including some Star Wars stuff. So I'll go ahead and bring in this TIE Fighter, and we can rename the app as well to be new applications. And the idea that I'm going for here is that I want to have some way for this business to share a public-facing way for other people to inquire about services. By default, when I start an app inside of SmartSuite, I have these fields: title, this is the comment or conversation field. I have an assigned to field, priority, status, and due date. And these fields, especially assigned to through due date here, these are all really helpful in workflow management and assigning work to people on our team. But for our purposes today, I'm not going to utilize these specific fields. So instead, I'm going to go up here to fields to display, and I'm going to hide them. I'm actually going to clear everything. So all I have is the title here. And I also like to keep those comments, because if I want to collaborate with my team on a particular record in my SmartSuite app, I want those comments to be visible. So now, just by a few clicks, I've changed the layout of this particular view. So all I have is the title and the comments here. Now I want to build the framework and essentially set up the data points that I want to collect anytime someone is submitting a request to work with us. At a minimum, we generally have a name field where we're going to ask, who are you and what's your interest? And one cool feature about SmartSuite is the ability to have this full name field. You see here that I can actually make some choices in terms of what types of names I want to bring in. I can include titles, Mr., Mrs., and then even add some additional. I can include middle names. For the purpose of our demo today, I'll just keep it simple: first and last name, and I'll create this field. So now I'm going to have a full name field, and actually utilizing that specific field type will come into play when we build our form, because it will actually allow us to capture data in those particular subfields, if you will. Inside of the full name, I'm going to have a full name and a last name. I'm also going to require an email address, or perhaps if you're doing more by phone, you would supplement a phone number here instead. Go ahead and add an email field as well. And one thing I like to recommend for any kind of intake form is that we're also going to utilize some qualification questions. We don't necessarily work with just anybody. Generally, you want to include some sort of qualification questions to make sure that this potential lead, potential prospect is a good fit. So one great field for this is going to be a single select field. We can supply multiple different options in a single select field. For example, because I'm not very creative, I'll call these option 1, option 2, and option 3. And this could be just a question that we're asking folks before or as they are filling out this application, again, to make sure that they're a good fit. And one nice thing about having these different color-coded options is we might internally assign certain colors to these that would be an indication of potential fit. So for example, we might say option 1 and option 2, these are good, but these are good things that we want to see from our qualified candidates. Whereas option 3, we're going to color code it red to give us a visual indication that maybe that's not the best fit. So we've gone ahead and created now our qualifying question. You can extrapolate upon that and include many more of these as you see fit. And now what I'm going to include is an internal field for outcome. And oops, that's not the name of the field, sorry. It will be a single select field as well, but I'm going to name it outcome. So once I've selected the field type, I can come in and change the name here. And we have different potential outcomes from an application. Maybe it's a good fit and we approve the application, in which case we want an option for that. Maybe it's not a great fit and we'll deny the application. Or maybe in some cases we want to have a manual follow-up. And again, you can include as many different things here as you can imagine. These are just some example options for the outcome of this process. And so I'll establish that field, and we can one more field, because I know in advance that I want to send an email here. I want to use a yes, no, or a Boolean field. And I really like in SmartSuite how they give us numerous different options for how we can display this Boolean field. By default, we're getting this checkbox, but I really like actually including the yes, no toggle. We also have the round toggle and a rectangle toggle as well, but I'll pop in this yes, no toggle. And I want to also point out that many of the fields in SmartSuite, not only do we get these settings and colors as we have here, but we also have the ability to set defaults. And this is one of those features that I think isn't very common among all of the other no-code tools. Essentially, what this allows us to do is say, when a record comes into existence, if this particular field doesn't already have an established value, then by default, it will become this. And most other no-code tools that we work with by default just blank. And so it's really nice feature inside of SmartSuite to say, we actually have a default of no in this particular case. Let's go back into modifying the settings. Is have I sent my automation, my email sent? So realistically, what I want to use this field for is to say, I want this toggled off unless I've sent an email. And this is a fail-safe for me when I build an automation so that I only send the email once. So in my automation, as you'll see as we get to in a moment, I'm going to actually toggle that email sent to yes, so that we know that we've sent the email and we never again send a redundant email and spam our prospective clients. So now that we have the basics in place, one more thing I'll do is include the title here. I can modify the title settings, and I can actually create an auto-generated title, which works similar to a concatenate formula. And I can select things in my application here, and I can, for example, bring in the full name and maybe a dash, and maybe bring in, I don't know, the last updated on, for example. And this is then going to automatically create my primary field here, which we've called title. All right, feel pretty good about this. The next part is going to be setting up that form, and SmartSuite has some incredible forms. I go over here to my views, and actually, sorry, up here on my views, I create a new view, and I have the form option by scrolling down. And I can name this form whatever I'd like. I'll call this application form. And pretty simply bring different elements into the form. In our case, I'm going to bring in the name. I'm going to bring in the email. My camera's in the way. There we go. And I'll bring in whatever qualifying questions I've added as well. So this is all the information I need to collect from the external source who is filling out this form. I can include a title, include a description, also make these things required. And you see here in the full name field, what I was talking about earlier, the ability to break out that first and last name. I can require all of these. I can change my logo, plop in a logo if I so choose, etc. So lots of customization on the form. I can also go over to settings and display a specific message at the end of submission, or excuse me, following submission. So have a specific message. So thanks for your application. Or another very fun feature is redirecting to a URL. So maybe on your website, you want to redirect them to something else. And so you could redirect to a URL after submission of the form as well. Going back to the form itself, I'm going to go ahead and share the form once I'm happy with the way it's looking. I have the ability to share the form as a URL or to embed the iframe into a website. So I can go with either of these. In this case, I'll just take the easy road and preview the shareable link. So this is what that form is going to look like in its entirety. I'll fill out some example data for myself here, and I'll put together fill out all the information that's required and submit. And as you would expect, that information, first of all, here's our custom message. And if we were to pop back now into our grid view, we're going to see that information was received here. So here's our title being automatically generated for us with the last date of updating, which is today. The information all lives here, but I don't have an outcome yet. And that's the workflow that we're going to build. Now, before I do that, I actually want to scrape out the first name from the full name. So I'm going to build a formula field, give you a taste for what formulas look like inside of SmartSuite if you haven't yet been exposed. Very simple builder here. If I want to do some simple arithmetic, I can bring in some of your basic math functions here and do some math. But I'm going to flip over to the advanced editor and use one of my favorite features of SmartSuite formulas, which is the dot notation. If you haven't used dot notation before, don't be intimidated. It's actually incredibly robust, and once you pick it up, you're going to love it. The idea here is I'm going to reference that full name field. And so here's the full name. And if I hit dot and then in square brackets, I type in first name, that is the proper syntax that I'll need in order to scrape out the first name that lives in the full name field. So there I have my formula, which I should have properly renamed. Let's go back in and rename our field here. And I'll call this first name. All right, we have all the pieces now that we require in order to build our automation. So we can click up here to our intake process solution, scroll on down to automations, and stand up a quick automation. So I'm going to build an automation based on a record matching conditions. My new applications app will have to have the following conditions. The first condition is my outcome field, if I can find it, changes from being blank, because that means there was no outcome chosen. It changes from is empty and it switches to approve application. So not only am I saying here that I'm requiring the outcome to be approve application, it's actually much more thorough than that. I'm actually able to say, I want that outcome to move specifically from being empty to being this value, which is a very cool feature. Additionally, I will require that my sent email field, whatever I called that, let's see if I can find it, email sent. There we go. This particular field must be equal to no. That way I make sure that, again, I'm not spamming my folks. I only want to send this email one time. So now that I've built my conditions, I can add an action. The first action I'll do is send an email. I can send it either from SmartSuite or from my Gmail account, which makes it just come from my account, which I really like. I haven't established my Gmail account here in this solution yet, so I'll need to sync it up, add a Gmail account, give this a second to talk to my Google. And there it is. Select my account and continue. As you can see, I've already synced this with multiple solutions. And now I can bring in the email address, as you would expect, this data coming from my trigger. So this is the email I'm going to send to. I'll say, thanks for your application. Next steps, or something like that. And here I can bring in a mixture of dynamic and static data. I'm sure for those who have built automations before, this is nothing new, but what we're going to do is actually include some static text, which is the same every time, just by typing it. And we'll mix that with some dynamic text by mixing it in with some things that come from our trigger. In this case, I want that first name formula field. Where did I drop it in? Nope, not popping up for me. Do I not have access to my formula? Let's just instead keep it simple, and we will bring in our full name instead. And I can say something like, here are the next steps. And my formatting is wonky, so forgive me that, but you get the idea. I also, in the message here, have the ability to include a lot of different rich text. So I might give a numbered list, thing 1, thing 2, whatever those things are, include hyperlinks, etc., attachments as needed. And if I wanted to include field comparisons, I could as well. One final step for this automation, and then I'm going to hand it over. I want to update that record. So I'm going to update the record that we just used to trigger this automation. And what I want to update is that email sent field. I want to switch it over to yes. Again, this is the part of the automation that's going to ensure that I don't spam my clients. So let's switch this automation on, save it up. There it is, now living in my solution. If I ever need to get back to that automation, all I need to do is click down here and I can just access it right here. And let's take it up for a test. I'm going to choose the outcome, approve application, which then in the background is going to send the email and update that email sent button. And in the meantime, I'm going to pop open my Gmail to see if I receive that email. And here it is. There's the email. Thanks for your application. Here's next steps. Flipping back into SmartSuite, I now see that the email has been toggled to yes. So I don't have to worry about spamming that person again. And presumably, we now have, in 20 or so minutes, a fully integrated intake workflow. I hope you guys got a lot out of that. I'm going to pass it over to John.
Gareth, that was incredible. Thank you so much for that. I figured I'm just going to mention 2 things before we let John jump in for a second for product updates. First of all, while we're waiting, what if are we able to share the live form in the chat so that all the webinar attendees can experience it for themselves? People can fill out sample data. And let's fire off some emails as we continue on with this webinar. And then the second thing is, for those who want to follow along as John starts talking about product updates and we get to Q&A, if you haven't yet upgraded your account or subscribed to SmartSuite, we have a special discount code, which we'll share at the end, but I'm going to start sharing it already now because the discount code is limited to the first 150 redemptions. And so after 150 redemptions, this discount code expires automatically. And so you definitely want to go ahead and grab this quickly before this discount code gets 150 redemptions and runs out. The discount code is for 15% on your entire first year's plan, no matter how many users. And that's going to be GAP Webinar 15. For those of you who want to go ahead and upgrade your account right now, write this down. GAP Webinar 15, that's GAP WEBINAR 15. Put that in the discount, in the coupon code section as you're upgrading your account. And again, just to remind you, this is available for the first 150 redemptions until December 1st. So you have to take advantage of this by December 1st and be from the first 150 people. And that will give you 15% discount on your first year's plan. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to John for a few product updates coming in SmartSuite soon. And then we're going to take live Q&A. John?
All right, thank you, Avi. Let me share my screen here. First off, in the chat, I sent a link to our public roadmap. If you want to follow along with some of the things I'm going to talk about, click on that link. Once you get to the link, you can actually vote on each of the items that are on our roadmap. This is what we use to help gauge things that we'll be working on from a planning perspective. And then anything that's in process means it's actually in development with our team right now, with our dev team. And obviously anything that's complete is something that has been completed from top to bottom, showing the latest items that have been completed. So let me share the roadmap here. I'll keep it pretty quick. I have quite a number of people asking questions about where we're at on the roadmap. So I thought I would just dive into kind of our top 15 items that are there. I'll do it pretty rapid fire. So if you have questions, throw those into the chat or the Q&A, and Avi will interrupt me and I'll provide some more detail if needed. So the first feature that we're working on is we currently have a time tracking log that allows you to manually track time. You can either do it based on a duration, saying 5 hours, 10 minutes, or you can do it based on a time frame, saying from 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock today. And then we track that time and we do a time log of all entries for that record. We're adding the ability to have an auto timer associated with that. So you can just turn the timer on and it will auto track time. It will put a small pill at the bottom of your page. So you can start and stop that time for that particular record, or you can close that and move to the next. So it's just the next step in kind of our time tracking timesheets capability inside of the product for people really tracking time at the record level. So this is record by record, which could be a task, a project, a client, whatever you want that to be. We're also very close on a new field type called a button field type. This particular field type will display a button inside of the record or any view that you're looking at, and you can dictate what you want that button to do when it's clicked by the end user that's there. It could be as simple as redirecting them to a website or something outside of the product. It will also have the ability to do internal actions where maybe I want to print and send an email or create a PDF document, and you just want that easy inside of the record itself. But what's more interesting is we're combining this with when a button is clicked, automation action or trigger that we're adding that allows you to couple these two things together. And now maybe I can pull information out of the record to send an email to a prospect or to a client. Any type of action that we make available in automations will be able to be used as a button field type. And the difference here is the action doesn't fire until the user actually clicks on that button field type. The next thing that is actually done and is in final testing, we hope to roll this out in the next 2 weeks, is we've added 2 additional types of permissions when you are in a solution and you're defining the permissions or sharing that you want people in that solution to have. So we've added an assignee role. This role allows you to lock down the records that person can see to only things they're assigned to. And they cannot add new records. They can only update and view records that they've been assigned to. And if that assignment changes, they no longer see that record. We have a lot of agencies that use our product that have hundreds or thousands of maybe tasks or records by clients in one solution, but they give their clients access back to this. They can turn on the assignee permission, assign it to the client, and now that client will only see their task or their elements, the records that they should see, excuse me. The second part of this is we've added a new role for commenter permissions, which allows you to set somebody with basically view access, but with commenting rights. So they can see records. They can't update the record, but they can participate in the discussion, the comments that are in the side panel of each record that's there. We're also very close on rolling out an overall role for SmartSuite called Guest. To refresh your memory on the types of roles that you have, we have an administrator role that gives somebody access to the entire product. We have creator roles that allow people to create and manage solutions. We have just a general user role that just gives them general access to things inside of SmartSuite. And we're adding this fourth one, which is a guest. A guest is a new read-only role that is free. So you can invite as many guests as you want to your account for no charge. They are limited though to only view information across SmartSuite. So they won't be able to make any updates, but they'll be able to view everything inside of SmartSuite. This is most common for accounts that have clients that need access to information. And in most cases, they don't want to just do a shared view that's there. They want to give them a little more access to this. So you can set them up as a guest, and then you can go into individual solutions and actually give them permission to that solution. And regardless of what permission you might grant them, they're always limited to the guest, but you could change that at any time. We're also getting very close on our field permissions. Field permissions will allow an additional level down of permissioning where you can lock fields down, either to say a person that maybe has edit access to all fields. You could say, except for this field, and it's view only, or you can take this field away from view. So you could say they don't have any access to this field. The most common use case for this are situations where maybe you have something like compensation in a field type, and you want everybody to be able to see everything except for the compensation field. Maybe just the HR team can see that. So that field gets hidden. When we hide that, the user has no recollection that that field is actually there. It's completely gone throughout the interface. They just don't know that field even exists. That's there. Next up, we have section show hide. We're adding this capability to both record pages and to forms. I have pages here should say forms. So what this allows you to do is to go into a record and actually add a rule that says, don't display this section until this event happens. So maybe you have different types of information that you're completing as a real estate company for properties, maybe commercial and residential, with different fields of information collected for each, but you'd like to have all of that in one record. So when you select the property type, maybe residential, it knows which sections of information to show for you, and it takes everything off the page that you don't need to worry about that's there. We're doing the same thing for forms. So as users complete forms, you could also have a target or master field that sets and determines if we display more information or less information based on the fields in the form that are being completed. That's that. We also have a new update to forms that we're just getting ready to get started on, but it's one of the most common requested items or highly requested items that we have. And it's the ability for you to send request updates to existing records that you have in SmartSuite to somebody that doesn't have access to SmartSuite, to a third party. Maybe it's a vendor that you do business with and they need to update their information once a year, contact information. This allows you to go in and actually set up a form just the way you set one up today. You'll be able to use an action like a button that we talked about up before. When you click that button, it will pull that form in, populate the form with the information in the record that you have today, and then send a link to the user. And the user will then have the ability to complete that form. When they make the updates will come directly back into and update that record in SmartSuite. There's a second part to this as well that we're going to allow you to require that person to log in and to actually manage email addresses and passwords for those people inside of this as well. So if you're sending it to a vendor, they first have to log in, you know that they've logged in, and now they'll see any of the records that have been assigned to them that they can actually update that's there. So think of it as a mini portal for just record updates, trying to make that easy. On the automation front, we've released a new automation that's available now to everyone that's called Add a Schedule Time, that allows you to run a series of actions based on a schedule. That schedule could be hourly, daily, monthly, yearly. We have phase 2 of that, which will be rolled out next week, which allows you to go in and not just say, I want to run this action once a week. It will allow you to say, run it once a week on Monday, Wednesday, Friday at this particular time. So we've implemented phase 2 of this, and it's in testing right now and will be rolled out probably as soon as Tuesday of next week. I'll go through these remaining items pretty quick, but we have a series of automation actions that we've added that are complete. And number 9 here, all these items have been completed. They're in testing right now. Once we feel comfortable with this, we'll release these in beta, which will probably be towards the end of next week. That includes an integration with Salesforce to both create and update records in Salesforce based on actions in SmartSuite. The same with Intercom. We've added Outlook, Microsoft Teams, Google Calendar, Google Sheet, and Google Drive. Again, all of these are completed and will be rolled out as soon as the testing is completed by our QA team. What's up next is what I'm showing here in number 10. And this is really just based on customer feedback. So we're in the next group, and you can look on the public roadmap and see the full listing of all the items that we have planned. And we're just trying to understand from you the feedback on what's most important. So if there's something that you need, please be very vocal back and let us know. Otherwise, this is the order that we have in queue right now to follow for the next round of automation actions. Number 11 is one of the most requested features as well recently. Not sure why, but quite a large number or group of people like to use Make over Zapier. We don't care with Zapier or Make. So right now we have a connector with Zapier. It's probably used by 50-60% of our customers to do some type of integration with other products. We'll be adding Make to that, and we've just started on this. And it's about a couple of week effort and then another week of testing before we'll make that available. So we're probably about 3 weeks from today as a good time frame of when we'll make that publicly available. We've also added a new widget type in dashboards that is our first step in allowing you to actually visualize a data diagram for solutions that you're working on. So you'll be able to add this widget, in most cases, you'll make it full screen on the page, and it will show each of the solutions, the apps, and each field type that you have in that solution and all their interdependencies. It will track your linked record dependencies, if you have formula dependencies, lookup, rollups, counts, those types of things. Some of our more sophisticated users that are used to seeing data models when they build things I've requested this, and we're probably within 3 weeks of actually releasing this. It's live in version 1. We're playing with it now. We're just adding a few features based on comments that we're receiving back, and we'll make that available to everyone. Number 13 is the ability to cut and paste content directly into a grid view, not just a single row, but multiple rows that's there. This is in development as well. I don't have a time frame for this, but I would imagine that we're in the 3-week time frame to feel comfortable to release it, but it's in dev being worked on currently. And then the last one is a new request. It's interesting that this request has came up quite a number of times in the last month. It's the ability to do 2 things: to download videos directly into a SmartDoc field type, just like you would do images and anything else, and then allow users to play those inside of a video player inside of a SmartDoc field. And the second part of this is the ability to cut and paste a link like a Loom video into a SmartDoc, have the SmartDoc understand that it's a Loom video and allow you to embed a player or just keep the link that's there as options that's there. So this is partially done right now. The download part is done, and we're just finishing up the embed type currently. All right, that is like the fastest 15 product roadmap updates I think I've probably ever done. Avi, do we have some questions on anything?
Yes, John, thank you for the incredible features coming soon. Some of those are particularly super exciting to me, and I'm sure all of you have your favorites. I'd love to see in the chat, what was your favorite feature coming soon? What feature are you excited for most? And that will give you 15% discount on your plan, no matter what plan type you choose. So go ahead and redeem that now. Use Gareth's link to join SmartSuite if you haven't yet already, and use that discount code for 15% off. Emma, and share that in the chat. And with that, we're going to start taking live questions. If you want your question specifically for Gareth or for John, mention that in the question, and feel free to start throwing your questions in the chat. I saw many of you have been putting great questions in before, and many of them have been answered by the team via chat. But if you want to bring up your question live, if you have additional questions, just throw it in chat, and I'm going to start triaging those questions.
I just wanted to acknowledge a couple of things I'm seeing come through the chats as well. So obviously make.com were the first 2 that people threw in here when you asked the question about what they're waiting for. We fully understand that, and we are on it. I also saw that Mark Taylor's asking for Xero, which for those of you who don't know is an accounting package used by quite a number of bookkeeping companies and small and medium-sized businesses. We've looked into this just over the last 2 weeks on our ability to pass information to Xero. I think we figured that out. Xero doesn't allow us to do everything we want to do, but we can create customers and invoices and pull information back. We're trying to figure out how to allow you to also do a full sync of information from Xero with customers' invoices, those types of things. If other people are interested in that, please go to the roadmap and vote on that. That will help us with the priority that's there. And then I see Patrick is asking for hidden sections, pages, and records, which are the permissioning pieces and the section show hide that's in there. Yeah, and then a few more integrations I see coming up in
Okay,
future.
I'm going to take one over here. We have a question from Sheila. Is there an integration with ADP Total Source?
I'm pretty sure, that's available through our Zapier connector. I don't know if one of our team members can take a peek real quick at that. We don't have that on our roadmap for a direct SmartSuite integration right now. It's definitely something that we can look at though. But if we don't, understand, for those of you that don't understand or know about Zapier, Zapier is an integration product that allows companies like SmartSuite to integrate with Zapier, and then they provide integration to all the other companies that have done the same thing. So there's about 5,000 products that are available on Zapier that are available for you to integrate SmartSuite with out of the box. It's there. They do have a charge for that based on volume. It's not a huge charge. Most customers pay in the $15, $20 a month for their typical integrations with Zapier. It's based on volume though, so it could be higher if you have hundreds of thousands of records that you're updating.
Okay, excellent. Now, question for Gareth. We had this question come in a whole bunch of times during the webinar. Gareth, can you compare SmartSuite attachments to Airtable attachments?
Yeah, thanks. I actually saw the question, so I had prepped a little bit in advance. So essentially, the attachments come in very similar ways. You get the same access to either take a picture there in the experience or access an existing file somewhere on your computer. One thing I will say is that SmartSuite's mobile app, if you haven't used it yet, is a really good tool. And so if you're working in the field, a lot of the folks that we know have been making a switch because of the fact that the mobile experience is just so much better. And so that obviously plays into the attachments as well. One thing I would point out would be the difference in, let me go ahead and share my screen again really quickly, would be the difference in attachment space. So on the Enterprise Pro plan, you're looking at 20 gigs of attachment space versus the SmartSuite Enterprise plan, 500 gigs of file storage is quite a big difference. If you have large demands on the attachments that you're putting in and the size of those files, I think in a apples to apples comparison here, if we're to look at the professional plan, you're looking at 50 gigs to 20 gigs. But 500 gigs compared to 20 gigs is a no-brainer. So I think that's probably where you guys really break away.
Awesome. Thank you, Gareth. We have a ton of questions coming in and we're going to really do our best to try to get to all of them. Let's try to do some rapid fire questions. John, have you built a tool to import/convert an Airtable base to SmartSuite?
We are looking at that infrastructure right now. Airtable does not make that easy for us on purpose for users to pull data out, but we have found a way to do that through shared bases. So if you can do a shared base link, you can copy that link. We can look back in, make guesses on the field types. They won't tell us that. And then we can pull the data in. It's something that we're just getting started on. It's going to be, it's an option that everybody will have that comes into SmartSuite. And we're trying to make it easier for you if you are not just an Airtable user, but other products as well. And you just want to compare how that product looks compared to SmartSuite with the same information and data, we'll do that. So I'll give an update here probably in about 2 weeks on the progress that we've made in this area, but know that we're moving pretty quickly down that. And Avi, I see another question I want to answer real quick on asking us if we've considered integration with products like Softer. Softer is a portal type product that allows you to pull data out of other data repositories and then build basically custom websites for users to come to and interact with data. And the answer to that is absolutely yes. We want to have a relationship with Softer. We've been in discussions with Softer now for about 3 weeks, where we've also been having discussions with other players in the space as well, like Stacker. And we hope to have some announcements here in December about the direction and what's happening with integration of SmartSuite with some of these portal players as well.
Awesome.
So no, it's a high priority item for us.
John, I see. What about Glide?
Yeah, Glide is on that list. If somebody has connections with Glide and can put in a good word for us, we would appreciate it just to help kick those conversations along. It's all just based on the volume of customers and the need that they look at.
Yeah. Excellent. Thank you, John. I see 2 folks actually asking for Glide. I guess if Emma can drop the link to our product roadmap to vote on that feature, the more votes we have, the more we can work with those companies and show interest. Gareth, a few questions for you. Is there an outline type view to see parent-child relationships visually? I thought that Gareth may have some ideas of external tools that would accomplish this. This question is coming in. Obviously, John shared a little bit on the product roadmap that we have that coming internally in SmartSuite, but I'm going to turn that question over to you.
It's a good question. No, and I think I would defer back to what John said about the upcoming changes on the roadmap there for that visualization. So I don't know of anything else, unless I'm missing something, Avi and John, that I can get that visual indication of my data schema in SmartSuite currently. The only thing I would add to that, though, is that generally when we're building for our clients, we're always starting with that data schema and we map it out before we implement in any solution, whatever no-code solution that's being built in. And from that perspective, I strongly recommend Miro as a third-party tool for data schema road mapping. Lucid Chart's another good one as well.
Yeah, I'll just jump in real quick. I do know that there are 2 products on the market right now. There's Yes Security that's currently working on an integration with SmartSuite that will visually map it. It's geared a little bit more to show you from a security standpoint how things are interacting with each other and how SmartSuite's interacting with even external products, but that should be coming soon. And then there's a product by No Code Apps. I'm forgetting the name of the product, but I believe that they're also going to be rolling that. It's not actually released yet, but I know that's coming on the market. So those are tools that we're seeing coming on the market. Gareth, another question for you. Is SmartSuite designed to give clients access to your solution? If so, will that client need to create a paid seat on your account? What are the different ways you can use SmartSuite with your?
So I think, again, this kind of plays into the new role and permission that John was mentioning on the roadmap, that guest permission, giving that read-only access to somebody, but also you can share a view that you've created inside of SmartSuite as well. And that's currently live, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Correct. Yeah, that's the most common way right now that people share information with customers in a read-only state is you can create any type of view, like a grid view. You pick the fields of information that you want to share. We give you then a URL that you can share back with your customer, and then they see a live view of that when they click to come in. The guest role that we have added that will be available here in a couple of weeks will give them access to SmartSuite, so they won't just have a link. They can actually log in and see that same information inside of the product at the same time. And then the assignee role, which is allows for all of this, allows you to invite a customer in to view a particular solution, but know that customer can only see things that they're assigned to see. So anything else that's there that's assigned to someone else, they will not even know that's there. They'll only see the record set that's assigned to them.
Thank you, John. Question for you, John. When is your academy coming online? And are you going to incorporate citizen development practices?
We are, yes. We are very close. We've been working on our academy for the last couple of months. I think we have, if Nate is on here, if he can shoot something back in the link, I think we have somewhere around 25 courses that make up the academy based on the level that you're at. There's about 150 videos that are being created that allow you can either read the text in the course and then answer the questions, or you can watch videos that give you the same information and follow along live. Gareth we've contracted with him to actually produce the video since he's such a great education person across no-code platforms that's there. And then we'll have 3 levels of certification that people can get as well, where you can use that certification to then promote your services back to maybe your customers if you are one of our partners. Or if you are a creator or administrator of SmartSuite, you can prove back to your employer or for new employment that you have the requisite skill set to be able to manage an implementation of SmartSuite. The first part, to answer your question, the first part of the academy is we are really close. Within a matter of weeks, we're going to roll out the first 10 courses, and we're just looking for comments, feedback based on what is there. And then every week you'll be seeing more and more videos and drops over the next 3 to 4 weeks.
That's really exciting, John. And for you, John, is it possible to send an email to a group of people directly from SmartSuite as opposed to an individual?
Yes, you can include multiple email addresses. You can pull those email addresses from the trigger. There's a lot of different ways to do that. If you want to give us your specific use case, maybe in an intercom chat, we'll show you exactly how to do that in an automation.
Okay, excellent. Gareth, question for you. When you use a lot of automations, how can you sort them so you can find the ones you're looking for more easily?
Great question. So for me, that really comes down to your naming convention. So when you are naming those automations, do it in a way that is methodical, that allows you to, when you open up those automations again, know exactly what's what. I don't think that this is on your roadmap yet. Correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe in the future, a new feature SmartSuite might consider would be maybe folders or something along those lines where we could group automations if we are automation power users, but I don't think that's currently available.
I see John taking notes. I'm sure we're going to be investigating that. Thank you.
Let me just share one piece of the current strategy that we have with automations. Right now, when you add an automation, we link that back to the app that you were in, that the trigger is from. And when you view those automations on the overview page, we auto group those by apps for that very particular reason. That was a request as we built version 1 feedback that came in. The second part of what we will be doing is allowing you to input your own groupings. So just like a folder, like Gareth said, so that you could then pick, maybe I want to see all my email automations across everything in this solution, but not by app. And it's going to be up to you to just set those categories, those groupings that you want to have.
Okay, excellent. Is there a way to show ERDs?
So that is the data schema widget type that we're adding does exactly that. So it will map out. And what I failed to say is you can look at one solution and all the interactions between the apps in that solution, but you can also turn on a switch that will show anything that any of the apps in that solution are linked to. So basically you could see your entire implementation if you wanted to print that out or view that inside of a widget as well, all down to the particular field types.
I'm excited. Okay. Question. Is there a way to export a plan, policy, etc. to Microsoft Word or a PDF? John, how about you take that one?
Yeah, so currently you can export that to PDF, and Google Doc and Word are on the roadmap for us.
Okay, excellent. John, one more question for you from Jared. So are you saying if a client wants to edit a record, they need to have a paid seat?
Correct.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
coming right now. Obviously, Software Stacker will address those needs, and we'll have more to address those. It has a great question. As a consultant, can I create a solution and then transfer it to SmartSuite licensed customers? John?
Yeah, we are working on that right now. So that will allow you to basically go into any solution that you've created and share that solution via link to anybody else that you want to share it with. You can add a password to that as well. So if I wanted to share something with Gareth at GAP, he would have the link, he would click on it, and then he'll be able to copy that solution and all of the information, including the data structure, all of that, directly into his account. Phase 2 of this that we're architecting right now is we're going to have a marketplace that's available for people that want to build solutions and provide those solutions back to other customers, either for free or at a price. So you'll be able to go in, and once we approve a solution, it will get listed in the exchange or the marketplace. And then it's up to you if you make it for free or paid version. And you could say that this costs $5,000 and includes 80 hours of consulting time. And that's the price. The negotiation of price or the transaction itself is directly between you and the customer. So we don't take any cut of that information, that fee structure that's there. And then if you agree on that and you want to share that solution, then you have the ability to share a link back to the person that you're sharing it with.
Excellent. Thank you, John. Gareth, this is a question for you. For Gareth, is there a tool to integrate via Zapier or Make that would let me export selected records to a Word or Google Doc?
Oof. So first, how are you selecting the records? Is there a way, are you indicating those records in SmartSuite need to be exported? And for example, you might have a toggle field that says yes or no. And if you click yes, then that is one of the fields that you want to export into a Google Doc. You can definitely take data from SmartSuite using a Zapier connection and create a Google Doc. The question mark that I have in my mind that I would need to test is, can you pull multiple records in the same automation? At a minimum, you should be able to write a snip of JavaScript that would allow you to create a loop that would go back in and look for the next one and look for the next one and look for the next one. It would require a little bit of code. I'm blanking on a no-code solution, and I hope that wasn't too detailed of an answer.
No, that's excellent. Thank you, Gareth. John, a few questions for you. We're going to run through them really quick. It seems like a bunch, I know we talked about and Stacker and portals on top of SmartSuite, but this is coming in real quick. And so I'm just going to mention it one more time to give you a chance to reiterate on it. The users are saying they would love to be able to have guests interact in a limited way, edit records or comment without having to pay for a paid seat with their customers.
Yeah, know that here in the next couple of weeks, we'll be making a decision on the strategy from SmartSuite on how to address this. This depends on the discussions that we're having with some of the players in the space like Softer and Stacker right now, and how quickly they'll be able to, or if they want to, first off, and number two, how quickly they'll be able to integrate with SmartSuite to make that available to our customers. If that does not work out for some reason, or we're not happy with the timing, we're going to make that capability available in SmartSuite directly. It'll be at a drastically reduced cost, similar to what you probably pay for Softer today if we're using that, but it will be built into SmartSuite. So we've let everybody understand our strategy. Our approach is to allow these other vendors to provide that service back to you, because that's a whole product in itself. But if we can't solve the need of our customers fast enough, we're going to go ahead and build it. I've already visually documented how it's going to work and look, and we just need to pull the trigger to start development on it.
Excellent. John, Can you determine data residency? Some of our clients need their data in Canada.
We can obviously segment data. We use AWS for our hosting. We can obviously segment data with AWS in different environments.
John, is there a way to call a webhook with an automation?
Not currently, but I didn't mention that today. That's on the roadmap. We're on with our lead developers to learn how, or to figure out the architecture of this to fast track those two particular areas that have come up quite often here in the last couple of weeks.
Love it. Folks, look at that. We're really listening to every request that comes in. John is on it. John, will you be adding a search action in the automations?
Yes. The first version of that, it's called Find. The first version of that is actually done and in testing right now. We've been working with a number of partners and customers, getting feedback. We're refining that just a little bit to make it easier to understand how to use it. That's there, but it basically allows you to add an action where you go and find a group of records. And then in the next action below that, you'll be able to pick that group of records that you have then found or searched for.
Okay. Patrick is asking, are there any problems that you don't plan on solving?
That Patrick is not one to ask because I get comments from him daily. Anybody that's using the mobile app needs to thank Patrick. It's been his I don't want to say his mantra in life is he is all about mobile, using mobile all day, every day. All of the download speeds and the ability to download 10 gigabyte files and larger all came from Patrick there. But yeah, Patrick, keep things coming. We just keep throwing them on the roadmap. I've got a top 20 list here in my office on the whiteboard. As one of the top 20 goes away, another one comes in, and that's what we use to manage our development.
Excellent. I see a question coming in from Gary. Any partnership with mini extensions?
We have reached out to many extensions, not had luck yet. So if you have any pull with them or know those guys, please mention our name so we can have that conversation.
Excellent. John, one more question for you. What about the security of the data? How safe is the work environment at SmartSuite? Which country does the data live in?
So right now the data, we use AWS. So all the SOC compliance and ISO standards and HIPAA is all available through AWS. All of the data that you have with us is encrypted through that. They do different types of reviews that we can share with you. Some are daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly that are happening on the AWS environment that's there. So happy to share any of that information with anybody that's interested.
Okay, excellent. Does SmartSuite have a consulting affiliate program?
We do. So we have two types of partner programs that are available. We have an affiliate program that are for people that are promoting SmartSuite through their networks. We offer a 50% commission of the first year revenue if you're an affiliate and bring us into new accounts. And the second part of that is we have a solution provider program, which is for consulting organizations that are building a business around no code and consulting to no code. You don't have to be exclusive with SmartSuite. You can provide consulting around any no code product that's there. And when customers come to you, you pick the solution that you feel is best for them. In that particular case, we offer a 40% commission on the first year and a 30% commission on the second year. It's a higher level, a little bit higher level than just our affiliate program.
Excellent. Jared wants to know how you join the program. I'm actually the VP of Partners, so I'm happy to work directly with anyone who is interested in joining our programs.
We offer the highest commission of anybody that I know of in the SaaS market with the 40-30 that's there. Some of our biggest competitors offer a straight 20% 1 year. We're offering 70% over 2 years. And the reason we broke that over 2 years is because in most products like SmartSuite, more rapid user adoption going into the second year with adding more licenses. And we want our partners to be able to benefit from that in the second year as well as the first year.
How can I learn SmartSuite?
There's a couple of ways. The first one is just start a trial and jump in. We have lots of great help text, lots of videos. The Academy will be up here in a few weeks that will guide you through that. I told you 150 videos on different topics that are there. But also in the bottom right-hand corner, when you log into SmartSuite, there's a little icon. You click on that. You can communicate in real time with our onboarding team. And for each person, we don't care if you're a trial or if you're a paid customer, we're going to give you 8 hours of onboarding time for you to see if you find value in SmartSuite, right? That's one of the things that we hope sets us apart from other people is that we want to understand your business, how you want to use SmartSuite. We want to give you a mini consulting session to say, these are things that you might want to think about. And then we'll help you import data, set up fields, do live training for your team. Anything that makes sense within that 8 hour time block, we'll provide back to you.
Awesome. Folks, I have a few more questions over here in the queue, but feel free to, if I missed any of your questions, please throw them in the chat again. I'm trying to go by order, but if I missed any of them, please throw them in one more time. And let's see some questions for Gareth. Everyone's excited about what's coming soon. What about how to use the product now? Have you seen what Gareth stood up there in 20 minutes? That was awesome, Gareth.
Thanks.
John, we have a question over here I'm going to pass to you. Hidden information passed through forms. Is it possible for a selection to automatically selected without the user selecting it? Is this possible?
It's not currently possible, but that request has been coming in. We haven't started development on that, but we're in the near term. So we're probably about 3 to 4 weeks away from allowing you to do 2 things with forms. The first is to have default values that you're talking about here. And the second one is to have default values in fields that are actually hidden from the user. But then when the data is imported, that field comes automatically into SmartSuite as well. So both of those are on the roadmap, but we haven't started yet.
Got it. Okay, here's a question coming in. I'm going to split this into 2. Gareth, what if I deleted a record? Where can I recover that?
Oh, good question. There is definitely a recycle bin, which I just used this morning. Let me share my screen really quickly. And if I can go back to that, sorry for the technical delay. So if I had oh, by the way, I've gone ahead and approved all of these. Thanks for sending this in, everyone, testing out that form. I hope you got the email reply if you gave me a real email address. But if you want to hit your recycle bin, come up to the top and you can drop on down to recycle bin. And depending on your plan, you will have more or less of a duration that you'll have access to data here. So check out the plan you're on. And as it says here, 30, 60, or 90 days based on the plan. So if I had deleted something, let me delete this record here. Just get rid of it. Whoops. And if whoops, sorry. But anyway, you get the idea. If I deleted it, it would be there in my recycle bin and I could reinstate it just right there, deleted items. You can also select different apps as well and check out all the different apps that you have or different solutions that you have. Hope that answered the question.
Excellent. Thank you, Gareth. John, how do you undo an action in SmartSuite? I tried Control-Z function, but could not undo my previous action. So I had to redo all of it.
That's a common request that's been coming in here just in the last couple of months. It's not implemented yet. We're working first on the undo part, but with the architecture that we're building, we want to do the redo part as well. That's there. The first part that this will be implemented on, the bulk actions that Gareth was just showing in the grid where you have the checkboxes, maybe you delete something by mistake, you'll be able to have a period of time that you can do Control-Z and restore those back. But yeah, I wish it was there. It's not there yet, but no, that's something we realize is important.
Okay, excellent. Question coming in from Stephen. John, is there right-click option?
I don't think we've rolled them out. There are right-click options that we've made available in the grid that we're working on that allows you to go into a cell and do a right-click, and you'll see the same functions as you get when you use the bulk actions on the side with the checkboxes. You just won't have to, like Gareth he clicked on one, and I don't think Gareth realized the delete was at the bottom for the bulk piece. You'll be able to see that in the cell like he was trying to do with the right click there.
Got it. I see a question coming in from Patrick. Thank you for bringing this back up. I think I did miss this. On forms, the attachments and files field is a max of 10 megabytes, but on desktop and mobile, the max limits are 5 to 7 gigabytes. Excellent. Serena says that Gareth and GAP Consulting are amazing. I couldn't agree more. Gareth is an awesome partner and top-notch no-code consulting practice. Follow Gareth's YouTube channel, by the way. Awesome YouTube channel, putting out excellent content on all the no-code tools.
Yeah, and I'll just give Gareth and his team a quick plug. If we provide 8 hours of onboarding to get you going, if you feel that as an organization you need a consulting partner to help you, Gareth's company, GAP Consulting, works in 1-week sprints, which is really unique. So they take requirements and work for that 1 week and deliver at the end of that week. And then you determine the number of sprints that you might need to have for a project. So they may say this project is a week, this one is 4 weeks, but they map out the deliverables. There they have some ex-Accenture consultants, really high-end quality people that are on their consulting team that have been doing business process consulting for their career. I can't say enough good things about if you have some more complex processes and just need to figure out your business process. it's not just SmartSuite, but the process itself and how things need to work. They're a great resource for you.
Shout out to Matt. I love those charts he shares.
Oh my gosh.
I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, next level. If you haven't connected with Matt yet on our team, he's a machine.
Yep. Couldn't agree more. One more question for you, John. Jared is asking, is conditional logic with forms on the roadmap?
Yes. So that was one of the roadmap items that I covered today was the section show hide capability, which is that conditional element that you're talking about. Allows you to basically add a rule or a series of rules to determine when that information in that section is actually displayed. And that will happen both inside of records and inside of forms.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah, that's exciting. Okay, we have another question coming in from Erica. Do you have US federal clients? I don't know that we can speak for the exact clients, but John, why don't you take that one?
I don't know that we can officially say, but just know that we have discussions with those types of organizations quite often.
I think they're probably more asking about capability. Do we have the capability of taking on federal clients?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're within a day or two of being on a couple of GSA schedules that make it easier for the government sector to purchase SmartSuite.
Okay, I see Heather says, great to hear about the webhooks. And Daisy said, excited about the conditional forms in the records. Question coming in from Jared. What about filters on conditions with automation?
Yes, that is part of the find feature that we were talking about, the search piece that's there. So that allows you to basically set a filter, determine the records that you want to pull from. And let's say that you go and find 100 records. We even take it a step further in that maybe you want to update these 5 in that record set that are there. So the find allows all of those elements.
Okay, it looks like we have one more question unless more come in. I just want to say for a second, we love this super engaged crowd. We are 15, 16 minutes over time, and we have such a large crowd still here, still engaged, still asking questions and listening. Thank you again, Gareth and John. For those who haven't yet upgraded their account, take advantage of this discount code. It is running out very quickly. I am monitoring our subscriptions as we're on this webinar, and they are coming in by the second. One last time, it is GAP Webinar 15 for a 15% discount on your first year's plan. No matter what plan type you choose, take advantage of it quickly. Folks, last chance to throw in your last minute questions. And I'm going to take one more question from Gary, actually. Can we put a limit on the size file to upload for users?
Yeah, that's what we were just talking about. So I think in Patrick's case, Patrick does real estate social media, and he has a lot of videos, and those videos can be 7, 8, 9 gigabytes, and they also need to be on mobile. So we've increased size limits for everyone for that. What we were looking at now is having a default limit by the attachment field type, and then you could set a parameter on the upload of files. So maybe you don't want somebody to upload more than a 10 gigabyte or megabyte file, that's there. I think that's probably the best way to solve this same request on the form side, is to give you more control over up to the 10 gigabyte, but maybe that's not what you want. So you set it at a reasonable number.
Okay, excellent. Chami Kramer says, thanks. The session has been very educational and exciting. I couldn't agree more. Gareth, that initial build you did was incredible. I didn't realize how complex you can get in just 20 minutes. You built an automation, a form. Come on.
Didn't go too fast.
No, I was like following along so clear. I love it. Folks, last chance to send in your question. I'm going to take another one here from Lisa. Do we have the ability to integrate with Document? So Document is actually a platform that integrates with platforms such as SmartSuite to be able to generate documents from records automatically. Is actually on Document's roadmap. I'm going to take that question because I've been dealing with Document a lot. Great product, by the way, folks. That is next on their roadmap. So they're just finishing up rolling out some automations, and I believe they're going to be starting integration with us before the end of the year. So we'll be sure to keep you updated on that. Okay, my firm is a U.S. federal contractor, and I would like to propose my manager to add SmartSuite services if the U.S. federal government approves the ATO. Who is a contact from SmartSuite who hands the U.S. Fed government? Tara has been handling that. Tara.
Yeah, so it's just Tara at SmartSuite, TARA at smartsuite.com. And you can also, if you don't want to email her direct, just click in the bottom right-hand corner of the product to open the intercom chat panel, and she can respond directly back to you that way as well.
Okay, excellent. Heather is asking, can you speak about the auditing changelog capabilities.
Yeah, so in each record, every change that you make to any field type in that record is tracked. Behind the scenes, there's no limit on how long we track it, but it's based on plan type. So as you upgrade your plan type, you get more history available that's there. It's just because it costs more for us to store and serve all that information back up to you. Yeah, so everything's there in the future. What we'll be able to have is, in addition to a change log, is you'll be able to revert changes back to a certain date if that would ever happen and need to be done. Where we haven't started that yet, but we've built the architecture in a way that supports capability.
Excellent. Heather says, great, we need this for compliance. I'm glad we're able to address that. Heather is asking also, I see it was answered, but I'm just going to bring it up so everyone else knows. Do you offer nonprofit discounted pricing, John?
We do. So we offer a 50% discount to any nonprofit.
Okay, and for those of you who are not yet in the nonprofit space, take advantage of the 15% discount. GAP webinar 15. Folks, it seems like we are at the end of the questions. Can we get some love for John and Gareth? That was incredible. Thank you, John, and thank you, Gareth.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. Thank you, everyone, for staying on so long and asking all these great questions.
Yeah, definitely. Second that. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, thank you, everyone. This was amazing.
All right,
See
have a
you
great
on the
day.
next one.
All right.
Bye, everyone.
Take care.